Hey guys, what's up? So it's time for another Blu-ray update. I have about 10 things to show and about 8 Blu-rays, 1 DVD, and a game. So let's get to it. The first one is a movie I already had on Blu-ray, but I had to upgrade since I got a new TV that has 3D, that I had to get the 3D version because I absolutely love this movie, and it's probably my favorite animated film of all time. At least the series is. I'm not really sure yet if it's my favorite out of the three, but it's Toy Story 3. Had to get it. I mean, this movie's incredible. And then I heard the 3D is incredible too, so I'm like, I have to get it. But the crappy thing is, I got it at Movie Stop, and I got it used, but they didn't have the slipcase, and it was like 20 bucks, so I couldn't pass it up. So I basically went to Best Buy, bought it with the slipcase, returned it without the slipcase, and I have the whole package now, which is awesome. But I don't have to tell you guys how amazing this movie is, but the 3D is awesome. The 3D it's just as good as the regular version. It's you know, it's bright. It's the 3D is not. I don't remember like things coming at your face and stuff, but you know, it just had good depth to it, and it was just a fun movie. It was a blast, and it's a must-own if you have a 3D TV, for sure. If you want like a great animated 3D movie, this is the one to have. Because I say so. Not because everybody else does, because I say so. Next movie, everybody was talking about this movie, how it's one of the best of the year. And I wanted to see for myself. And it's Skyfall. I have to be honest. I've never been a big James Bond fan. I've probably only seen maybe a handful of the movies. I just never big on the character and the films, but again, this one to me was just okay. I know a lot of people love this film, and I just thought it was okay. The picture quality was absolutely amazing, flawless. Although there were certain times when it felt a little grainy, but for the most part, it looked amazing. But I don't know. To me, still, if I had to pick my favorite, I probably would pick Casino Royale. To me, there was a lot more action, a lot more memorable action in that movie. I don't know. And a lot of people were talking about the villain in this movie, which, I mean, he was cool, but I was expecting more because people were hyping it up so much. I don't know. To me, it was just okay. You know, it was okay all around. Okay action movie. People were saying it's like super dark, the movie. Like they were comparing it to like The Dark Knight, which I don't see the comparison at all. But I don't know. To me, it was okay. And I just came from BJ's. I don't know if people have a BJ's around them. It's basically like a Costco, but I saw it and they had it for $13.99, and it made me sick because although I didn't pay anything for this because I went to Movie Stop and I traded in stuff, so it didn't really cost me anything. But the fact that it was $13.99 today, it just slightly made me sick. And yeah, nothing more to say about that one. This next one I really enjoyed a lot, and it's The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is a great movie. I love teen movies, whether they be more comedy or drama related. This one's kind of more in the middle between like a comedy and drama, but it was just great. You know, I mean, you pretty much know what it's about, how Logan Lerman is like a wallflower and he's super shy, and he meets these two characters and they bring out the best in him, and he becomes a little bit more sociable and stuff like that. Such a good movie. I loved everything about it. It just and it's funny because when I was watching it in the beginning, I didn't think it was a film that took place in the past. Like I thought this was a present day movie, but apparently this takes place in I think it's late 80s, early 90s. I'm not sure. I couldn't really tell, but I adore this movie. The picture quality was at times it could look good, and then at other times it looked okay. It wasn't the best looking movie, but it had a good soundtrack, and it just took you all over the place. One minute you're laughing, the next minute you're super depressed. It's just all over the place. But I really loved it, and I was really impressed by Emma Watson. Like, I never thought she was like, because I know a lot of guys are like, oh, she's so hot, I love her. It wasn't until like this movie that I'm like, wow, she really is good looking, and not in the hot way, but in the classy way. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. I liked her in this, but clearly you could hear the British accent. She still hasn't like fully disguised it yet, but either way, I highly recommend this movie for sure. One of those uplifting movies. Okay, this next one is a DVD, and the reason it's a DVD is because it's not out on Blu-ray, and the reason I'd heard of this before, but I totally forgot about this movie, and it wasn't until I saw Cool Duder's Blu-ray DVD update that he showed it, and I'm like, oh yeah, so that movie's out, but not on Blu-ray. And the reason I knew about it is because one of the actresses in it, but I'll get to that in a second, and it's the first time. It stars Britt Robertson, who I've seen in a ton of different things. This guy I've seen before, I don't know where. And Victoria Justice. I'm a huge Victoria Justice fan. I love her show, Victorious. It's like one of my favorite, I guess you can call it children show. Although they canceled it, which makes no sense. And it won 2 years in a row Best Show at the Nickelodeon Choice Awards, which doesn't really mean anything, but the fact that their network and the fans chose this show as being the best show on their network, and they choose to cancel it, makes no sense, which is why Nickelodeon is in second place as opposed to Disney. But so I heard she's in it, so I had to check it out. It was okay. I know Cool Duder and Wet Movie 1 highly recommended it. It was okay. It's basically a teen movie, which, of course, another reason I have to check it out. But it's about these two characters that they meet at a party, and they end up liking each other, and they also have significant others, and they somehow find their way to each other. It could have been better, in my opinion. Victoria Justice could have been in it more than 10 minutes. I would have been happy. Of course, she had like 2 scenes. She did say shit, which was kind of cool to hear because, you know, she's, you know, a Nickelodeon person. But, yeah, I mean, it was alright. I can't really put my finger on what it was. I felt like it just, I don't know, it was a little flat to me. It kind of felt like, a TV movie, to be honest. But, you know, if you're into any of these actors, then, you know, give it a shot. I was pissed that I paid $19 for it just because I went to like 5 different places and nowhere had it. The only place that had it was Target. And then, of course, I go to Walmart today and I see that it's $15. Shock. But, yeah, I mean, give it a shot if you're into, like, you know, teen movies. If you like Victoria Justice. Like, if you really like Victoria Justice, because she's barely in it. But it was okay. This movie I'm about to show you next, I've actually had for a long time. But I waited until the last part came out and then had a marathon. And I finally got around to watching Breaking Dawn Part 1. This one looked phenomenal. It looked amazing. Movie-wise, it was okay, to be honest. After going through all of them, the first Twilight movie was so-so. New Moon was eh. Eclipse was pretty good. This one is pretty good just because, you know, it's the first part of the end of the whole series. So that, you know, not much really happens in this, but it's still entertaining just because something happens. I mean, I don't want to spoil it. I doubt many of my viewers will watch this or have seen it already. But, you know, things happen to Bella a lot in this movie, which makes it interesting. And then there's a short fight scene at the end. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it looked really great. And then, of course, I got Breaking Dawn Part 2. Got to give a shout out to, why can't I? Corey Reviews. I blanked out for a second there. He loves himself some Kristen Stewart, so I know he loves these too. I got to give him a shout out because I was thinking of him when I was watching these movies. But Yeah, this is the part two version. You know, part two, part one. This one is definitely better. The first, I would say, half of the movie is a little slow. It's just them finding all these vampire people to help them fight the Volturi or whatever they're called. But the best part about this movie and the whole series is the fight scene at the end of this movie. Now, what really happens pisses me off immensely, because if what should have happened, it would have been epic, because you have 5 movies about caring about all these characters, and for something extreme to happen, it would have just made it feel good, like you were watching this for a reason. But what really happens made you feel like you watched 5 movies for nothing, honestly. But the fight scene at the end, it's awesome, because it's graphic, it's intense, it's long, it's unpredictable, just what movies should be like, and that was awesome. The picture quality was good. It wasn't as good as part 1, maybe because there's not really much going on in part 1. But yeah, I mean, I dug the fight scene at the end. It was really cool. Here's a slip cover. It's nice and glossy. And Kristen Stewart, man, they I was watching the features on it, and they really sexed her up once becoming a vampire, which was, I never noticed until I saw that feature, and I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of true. Okay, next is a game. I knew I wanted this game, but like I saw the reviews and they were really good, and I saw a few videos and I was like, wow, that looks really, really good. And I had to get it, and I got it. And it's Tomb Raider. Now, I've never really been a fan of the old Tomb Raiders, like the PS1 games and the PS2 games. To me, it felt kind of stupid, because all you were doing is running around with guns shooting animals in these little caves, and you got to find your way out. I could never really get into those. And then the Xbox 360 versions came out, which I thought were better. I did buy them, and I thought they were pretty good. But this game overhauls the entire series for the better. It is amazing. It is basically a prequel on how she becomes the Tomb Raider, and the whole gameplay has completely changed. If you're into Uncharted, like I love Uncharted, you will love this game. It is completely different. You don't run around with guns, although you do get guns, but it's more like it plays out like Uncharted, how, you know, you're hiding cover, you're taking cover, you're shooting guys, you know, you're exploring. It's more of an action adventure game, and I loved it. It's for the better. The story is really good. The graphics are amazing. It's super fun. It's addicting. You care about the character. It's just amazing. This is probably the first game in a really long time that I 100%ed the entire story mode. I never do that. I don't even think I did that with Uncharted, and I did that with this. It is just, like, when you kill somebody in this game, it's just amazing, because you build up your weapons too. Like, you find things and you build up your weapons, and then you earn skill points, and like you can finish off the enemies. Like, you'll shoot somebody and you can go up to the enemy, and if you upgraded your shotgun, you put the shotgun to the guy's face and you shoot. It's just awesome. I cannot highly recommend this game enough. What I cannot recommend is the multiplayer. Not because I haven't played it, just because I heard it's god-awful. So I'm not going to. So I'm just going to avoid that altogether. To me, this is just a single-player game. I'm not even going to play the multiplayer. But it is a must-buy. It is absolutely amazing. And I love what they did with Lara Croft. The way she looks in the game, the way she acts is just amazing. And you should definitely pick up this game. Let's get back to the Blu-rays. Next movie, I wasn't going to even buy this. But I was like, you know what? Nothing comes out that week. Let me get this movie. And I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. Probably going to be one of my top 10 movies of the year. And it's Life of Pi. This movie, I really wasn't expecting anything at all, to be honest. first I gotta say the picture quality is absolutely stunning. One of the best movies I've ever seen on Blu-ray, and I'm starting to regret that I didn't get the 3D version of this movie, because I got this at Movie Stop for free, and if I would have gotten the 3D, I would have had to add a few dollars, and I was like, nah, I'll just keep this one. But it's amazing. It's about the story of Pi, and for the most part, how we get stuck on a boat with a tiger, and it's like it sounds simple, but it's what plays out is absolutely amazing. You're fully into it. You don't want the movie to end. It's just, like the back says, it's stunning, and it's a masterpiece. And I see how the guy won Best Director. This could have won Best Movie, in my opinion, because I actually enjoyed this more than I did Argo. And I loved Argo, but this was amazing. I cannot recommend this enough. They're comparing it to Avatar, but this is way better than Avatar. Highly, highly, highly recommended. And I love that slipcase. That is just nice. Next up is, this was almost going to take over Toy Story for being my favorite animated movie ever. And I'll explain to you why I didn't. But it's Wreck-It Ralph, and this movie is absolutely amazing. It's probably my second favorite animated film of all time. The plot of the movie is just genius. It's a movie about video games. I mean, if you're a gamer like myself, you'll love this movie. And just the whole, how they just brought in other video games, and the story itself is amazing. But it's supposed to be about like a kind of a King Kong-ish type of game where Wreck-It Ralph goes on buildings and he destroys the building and stuff. But it's what happens after the game ends and what these characters do and stuff. It's just genius. It's like, who comes up with this? And what I love is how they incorporated other video games into it. Like, my favorite part of this whole movie is once the game ends, they go to like the Video Game Central where all of these like game characters like meet up and you know, they hang out and then they go to their games. It's just so cool because they incorporated like Street Fighter, Sonic, all these other different characters, and I loved the bad guy. What is it, AA meeting or whatever, bad Anonymous or whatever it was. That was genius. The only complaint that I have is because they go into like Wreck-It Ralph's game, and then there's a Gears of War type of game, and then there's a what is it? There's a Sugar Rush, and they spent way too much time in Sugar Rush, in my opinion. I liked the world; it was cool that it was all made of candy and stuff, but literally 3/4 of the movie is in that world. And I wish, and I hope, because I know they're going to do a sequel, I hope the sequel is more focused on the video game aspect, like what they do when the game ends, and less of going into like a Sugar Rush and spending all this time trying to help this little girl. When I wish they would have like more of the what ends after the game. You know, when the game ends, what they're going to do and stuff. I hope they do that, and I hope they incorporate more video game characters. But this was absolutely amazing. For sure, after Toy Story, then this. Although, if I watch this again, this could actually take over that spot. But, I mean, we'll see. I didn't watch it in 3D. I watched it regular 2D, and it looked phenomenal. I wish there was more special features. They're a little slim in that department. But, I can't recommend this highly enough. And, I know there was... Oh, and I love how they animated Fix-It Felix. I thought every time he opened his mouth and his facial expressions, they were hilarious. And last but not least is Bachelorette. Now, it's in the vein of Bridesmaids. If you've seen Bridesmaids, it's kind of similar. I don't know. I think Bridesmaids might have been a little bit funnier because, to be honest, both of them, they weren't as funny as I was hoping they were going to be. I like that this was shorter and straight to the point as opposed to Bridesmaids, which went on for like almost 2.5 hours. The scenes that were funnier in Bridesmaids were better, but I feel like I like the cast better in this. For those who are thinking Rebel Wilson is going to be in this a lot, she isn't. And when she's in it, she has more of a serious role, which is fine. I actually liked Lizzie Kaplan's character a lot in the film. She was kind of that I've seen her play this role a lot, that kind of bitchy, smartass character that she was, but I liked her in this. And it had a really good cast, and it looked really good. I just found it to be okay. I was hoping for a little bit more, because I remember hearing about this. It was like a Sundance film that everybody wanted to, like a bunch of companies were bidding on this movie, and I was expecting it to be amazing, but it was just okay. Anyways, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. 20 minutes for 10 movies. Damn. My bad. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for supporting. Rate, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.